Hi guys, Tory Michael Gove seems to both fear and hate democracy. Now he sat down with Kay Burley of Sky News and warned the British people about what sinister things Keir Starmer would do if elected. He was responding to one of the latest polls that would put the Conservative Party at its worst result ever, not since 1997, but of all time. Now instead of trying to convince the public to back his party based on their record, he resorts to scaremongering. I said before that Michael Gove is a bit like Nigel Farage. He's slimy and he will mix both truth and untruths to convince people to do something or to convince them against it. Sheer desperation here. Have a listen.
One lesson that some people may draw from the opinion polls is that if these opinion polls are correct, then Labour are on course for a supermajority. They'll use that supermajority to rig the system, to give votes.
You criticise Labour for getting more votes. It's down to you guys not being able to get your message across.
Well, as I say, I hope we're getting our message across on tax. And one of the things is that if people do reflect on the polls, and of course some may, they'll ask themselves this question. So if Labour do have that really big majority, what's to stop them rigging the system? What's to stop them giving votes to EU citizens, 16-year-olds, prisoners, and making sure that they could be a forever government?
If they've been given a mandate, it's not rigging the system.
Well, all of these are things that we know that Labour have entertained in the past, and my concern is that they would use their power in order to entrench themselves in power. As a general rule, democracies are better when we've got a vigorous
14 years.
When you've got a vigorous opposition and a strong independent media. I don't believe that Keir Starmer, on the basis of his past, would welcome a vigorous independent media holding Labour to account, and he certainly would want a strong opposition.
He's going to get it.
Well, if he's elected, then I think that both of us in our respective roles, you as one of the nation's most popular broadcasters, me as a Conservative, we're both going to have to do our bit to hold him to account. The more Conservatives there are in Parliament, the better served our democracy will be.
God. And look, last month, Michael Gove said that he was standing down at the next election. So how is he going to hold Keir Starmer to account? Oh, God. And also about the media, wasn't it Boris Johnson who received £800,000 loan from a donor who then went on to become the chair of the BBC? Is that right? Anyway, I have to mention a few things Michael Gove brought up here as part of the scaremongering. So first he mentioned supermajority, and this one seems to be doing the rounds in the media. Supermajorities do not apply to the House of Commons. There are mechanisms where a vote has a higher threshold than usual to pass. For example, in the US, to override a presidential veto, you need a 2/3 supermajority. But this is not something that applies to the House of Commons. So this, again, is scaremongering, convincing the public, my God, Keir Starmer could win a massive majority and then he could do as he wishes. To a certain extent, yes. I'd like to talk about supermajorities or a massive majority Keir Starmer could have and the potential problems with that in another video, but let's move on. Then he mentioned rigging the system. Now, what does he mean by that? Because he mentioned it twice. Of course, this is scaremongering. Does it include illegally proroguing Parliament? That would be an interesting question to ask him. Now, he also tried to scare people over Labour, saying that they would extend voting rights to 16 and 17-year-olds, prisoners, EU citizens. Okay, we don't know if they will actually do that. We don't know if they will implement it. But if they do, and they do it through a majority, well, then that's democracy. Now, it's possible that Labour don't win a majority of the votes. The Conservatives didn't win a majority of the votes in 2019, but that's first past the post. Michael Gove was very happy with first past the post last time. Now he seems to have a problem with it. And he also mentioned a forever government. Michael Gove and others in 2019, following Boris Johnson's 80-seat majority, were very quiet about the party being held to account or the problem of such a majority. They claimed actually at the time that Boris Johnson could be Prime Minister for the next 10 years. Yeah. He mentioned how Labour would entrench themselves. Once again, these people were talking about majorities for the Conservatives, 5 years ago that would last forever or last for a generation. They were hoping to entrench themselves, but they undone that by themselves. Now, Kay rightly pushed back against the idea that the Tories should be able to just criticise Labour for winning a majority. The fault lies with the Tories themselves for not winning over enough voters. If you're not actually doing something for ordinary people, you're not going to convince them to come out and vote for you. That's why we've seen so many people who lent their vote to the Conservatives in 2019 switching back, but also traditional Conservatives giving up on the party because they say, look, you've done nothing for us in the last 14 years. And the funniest part, of course, was when he talked about, well, we need to have the Conservatives in opposition. We need to win it. We need to get more and more people to come out and vote for the Conservatives because that should be the opposition. No, the opposition will be whatever the opposition is. If it turns out to be the Liberal Democrats, then it's the Liberal Democrats. This is a massive sense of entitlement. Well, we deserve to be in 2019, the entitlement was, well, we deserve to be in government forever. And now it's, we deserve to be the majority. The opposition. No, you don't. I hope it will be the Liberal Democrats, because then it would move the Overton window a little bit back to the centre, a little bit to the left. But why should the Conservatives be the official opposition? There's no justification for that. He doesn't have a justification. It's just pure desperation. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.